That almost went to a dark place, guys. It's late. It's 15 after midnight. It's already Sunday morning. And, I mean, this is what you get when you have a frickin' 8 o'clock kickoff, which I don't know why the Pac 12 is doubling down on that whole Pac 12 after dark thing. But yeah, somebody's going to have to explain to me why we have to kick off at 8 o'clock when people on the East Coast might not even watch the start of your game, much less the end of it. So, look, Huskies win 51-27, but it looked dark. It looked bleak at halftime. I was having some very bad thoughts at halftime about what this season was about to turn into. Because, look, Arizona was trying to make it easy for us in that first half. They gave us a touchdown for free. Khalil Tate, and I'll get into him more in a minute, donated a touchdown to us. And our offense was completely useless. We got two huge special teams plays and got nothing out of it. We had the blocked punt and we had the muffed punt that we recovered. Both times, I think we got one field goal combined out of those two possessions. Offense had one decent drive the whole first half. And this is the Arizona defense, guys. This defense hasn't done shit this season. They're giving up 400 plus yards a game. They're giving up a ton of points. And our offense was horrible in that first half. Offensive line was getting beat down. Once again, receivers not really getting open. Eason, I'll say this about Eason. He needs to learn how to step up in the pocket because right now what he's doing is when he gets pressured, he runs backwards, kind of like what Russell Wilson used to do. And even Wilson stopped doing it because Wilson realized that's not a good idea. And Eason is not Russell Wilson. Eason can't make escapes like that. He ran backwards a couple times in this game, and both times it ended poorly. One time, there was a flag on the defense, but he's got to stop doing that. That I know, but I'm not really putting a lot of the first half struggles on him, but he does need to improve there. It was an ugly, ugly half of offensive football. I saw nothing really good going on there. And late in the second quarter, when the Arizona offense got going and Tate started hitting some of those wide open receivers and they started breaking off some longer runs, I was like, are we really going to do this? Are we really going to just get our pants ripped off by Arizona to officially end whatever hopes we have of achieving something decent this season? Is this really how it's going to go? Are we really going to fall out of contention because we couldn't move the ball against Arizona's shitty defense? 17-13 at half, I think it was, something like that. And I saw it. I saw like, wow, our offense can't move the dang ball. Our offense isn't doing anything right. Our defense is suddenly giving up big plays. I saw it. And then, thank God, second half comes around. Offense hits the field, and right away they drive down, get a score. They get the ball in a short field off a turnover. They get a score. Fourth quarter, excuse me. Fourth quarter, they put it on. Eason played a great second half. The running game got going. Ahmed and McGrew both had big games. Hats off to both those guys. Those guys killed it tonight. 200 yards rushing. Aaron Fuller, who I've been a little hard on lately, he made a nice touchdown grab to really put this game away. After that touchdown grab, I felt really comfortable about this game. Puka Nacua, that's the kind of stuff that I really wanted to see in this game, maybe even more than a win. I wanted to see us start to test out some of our receiver talent that we have labeled as too young. Guys like Puka is a great example, and he had a great play out there, the 50-yard catch. He made a couple other nice plays. I want to see more Puka as this season goes on. So that was exciting to me because, like I said before, we need to be gearing up for 2020 when hopefully Jacob Eason is back for one more season and we actually have some targets for him. Because I don't think Aaron Fuller is going to be back. I don't think Baselli is going to be back. And if Baselli is back, he's just not very good at football. And I don't think Hunter Bryant's going to be back. And look, I like Hunter Bryant. I always have. But those guys are not cutting it, and you can shift the blame to whichever one guy you want to shift the blame to. But Baselli especially, he just doesn't get open enough. He's not good enough at receiver. Fuller, he has his uses, but he's also not a guy you can depend on for multiple big plays in a game typically. Not against a good defense. And even tonight, tonight he had a good game, but you see the plays where he just stands there and lets the pass get knocked away because he didn't come back to the ball, or where he just doesn't get open. You see that shit. And I'm like, against a good defense, these guys can't cut it. So Puka, that excited me. Really happy to see him out there. And basically the whole second half, I was like, this is the Washington offense I expected to see the whole game. Now, I have to say, Khalil Tate was probably our best player today. That dude was trash. Khalil Tate was the most useful player for the Huskies on the field today. And as far as I know, Tate's had a good season so far this year, but he missed so many open receivers for big gains. He had the interception. The ball was tipped. I get that, but he took a lot of bad sacks. He made a lot of questionable decisions. The backwards pass on the fumble was, Aaron Brooks would be proud of that shit. So without him, I don't know how this game goes. That being said, I want to say I was really happy with the defense today. I think the defense did a great job of getting pressure on Tate. Defensive line played a monstrous game. We did a great job of forcing him to the sidelines and just forcing him to throw the ball away. There were multiple plays in this game where Tate just had to chuck it to the sideline because he was getting escorted out of bounds by the defensive line. We generated pressure on him constantly. I don't know how many sacks we had, but it was at least a few, and there were several other plays that were just blown up. We forced a big fumble early in the third quarter on the wide receiver bubble screen that really turned this game, in my opinion. After we got that turnover and turned it into points, I was like, I felt really good about where the game was going, and yeah, I don't know how this game goes if Tate doesn't play one of the worst games I've ever seen him play, and probably the worst game he ever will play in college football. I mean, the numbers do not even do justice how bad he was, but I do want to give my hats off to the defense. This is a good Arizona offense, and we did mostly a good job of keeping them out. There was that one period of time right at the end of the second quarter when it looked like they were going to get going, but I will take 350 yards or 360 and 27 points against this Arizona team any day, especially when one of those touchdowns came off the short field, off the muffed punt. But yeah, for whatever it's worth at this point, it's a good win. I liked what I saw from the offense. I liked that we brought some of the young receivers out there and put them through their paces. And I mean, nothing's over. I know that. I don't believe this team is good enough to beat Oregon. I don't believe this team is good enough to beat whoever they would play in the Pac-12 title game if we get there. But we got to play it out. And yeah, we move to 5-2, and I can't go over the top with praise for these guys because the first half was that bad, but they got it together. So I'm gonna get to bed. Big game tomorrow. Big game in about 9.5 hours now. So I'll let you guys go. Bow down to Washington, and 5-2.